Mabo and Jimmy, Mabo's so happy. Cuteness is justice, that's why he's loved by Jimmy. Mabo and Jimmy, Jimmy's so silly. Cuteness is justice, that's why Mabo loves Jimmy.
Alright, we are back to Dallas, and I have questions for you.
About what?
About Japan, this trip.
Oh, okay.
So, what was the first thing you noticed when you landed in Japan?
Well, even on the trip there was how polite everybody was.
Uh-huh.
Everybody was so polite.
Yeah.
Everyone. No pissed off people working behind the counters. I heard the words whatever arigato, thank you over and over and over and over and over again. I noticed all the toilets were heated seats, and
Yay.
they all had washers for your butt, and even the water was warm. I loved that feature.
Yeah. I wonder everybody loves that. Like, some people feels like, oh, this is like body temperature. But I love it. It's better than like, so cold, you know.
Yeah, it's better than a cold shot of water.
Yeah.
And then the cities that we went to, which were Shimonoseki and where did we say?
Yeah, Kitakyushu, Okura.
Yeah, those cities were pretty industrial. Didn't have any super modern buildings. I'm sure Tokyo does, but they didn't. I thought it was neat how they would have 600-year-old shrines in the middle of the literally right next or sandwiched between and around all these modern buildings, which their modern was probably about 1960s, kind of modern. But that was what I first noticed. There's probably tons of stuff.
Yeah. To me, because of those industrial area, like 15 years ago when I went back there, I felt like so old and dated.
The buildings?
Everything was gray. You know what I mean? Like, Dallas is growing, so we have a lot of new buildings built up like every single year. Like, I've
and
never
shiny
seen this.
and new.
Yeah,
and,
it's modern and
Yeah, colors to the glass.
Yeah.
Colors to the buildings.
So that's what I didn't like about Japan 15 years ago. But now came back 15 years later with you, with your eyes, those old stuff became cool thing.
Yeah, because I like 60s architecture anyway. But it was kind of 60s architecture. I didn't see anything super modern in the two cities that we went to. Hiroshima, that's a different story. That was a bit modern city. That was a cool city. That was a whole lot different than I thought. I didn't know what to expect. I was thinking it was a much smaller town. I thought it would be, sounds dumb, but kind of decimated. That sounds stupid because that was 78 years ago.
Okay, next question. Please tell me the top 3 events, best events happened during this trip. Number 3.
So number 3 was the safeness I felt. Walking, every night we'd have to walk from the train back to our hotel. We'd walk through a big park similar to like Central Park in New York, and felt absolutely no fear. I liked the cleanliness. There's no trash, no litter, and even no waste baskets. And he had said something like, it's your trash, it's your problem. That's kind of the mentality. So you have a wrapping from your sandwich, it would go into your bag, and you throw it away. The only place where there are public trash cans are where the public restrooms are, which are pretty well spaced throughout. And then the number one thing, the best thing, was meeting your mom. And, I cried. I'd been anticipating that for years. I'd always been picturing it. I've not seen his mother prior to this. His mother didn't want to be seen on video, so any of the video calls, she would hide herself. She had had a stroke and just didn't want us to see her that way, but we eventually got to see her. fell in love with her and his family. So that's the absolute number one thing.
Yeah, in fact, like recently we called mom, and now Jimmy can picture how she looks like and how she talks, right?
And
like,
she's now saying that she can put my voice.
uh-huh.
She's like, it now makes sense to
Yeah.
her. She can put my voice with my
Yeah.
who I am.
So, feels much closer in a sense.
Yeah.
So my top 3 is everything. Like food, onsen, karaoke. That's what I wanted to do with you.
Yeah.
And
We did everything.
Those are the best part.
I think he had 100
one
things
of
for us to do, and we did them all in like 8 days.
Yeah. The second one is, you told me earlier, but the politeness. And I had to make a call to make sure the reservation is confirmed, the customer service, everybody is very polite, take care of you. Like inside of the flight, flight attendants take care of you.
Mhm.
So
Customer service.
customer service is amazing. Yeah. Even like small convenience stores. Yeah.
Everybody's so nice.
Yeah.
I didn't see anybody getting mad or
Right.
yelling at
Yeah.
anybody.
Everybody's lined up, lined up,
the
and
way they're
wait.
supposed to, and
Yeah.
they're polite, they're
Yeah.
patient,
Yeah,
they're kind.
yeah. Wow.
Those happen to be
Yeah.
the top 2
That's-
definitions of what love is that some people seem to have forgotten.
Yeah. So that was my top 2, and number 1 is obviously family. And you said about mom, but to me, dad. I knew mom would accept Jimmy and
She had
myself,
already accepted.
our relationship. But my dad was wild card. So once you saw him and
He loved me.
yeah, shook hand, and he suggested to go to the onsen
Together, so that he could see me naked.
But that was
But that's a big
gesture.
gesture.
Surprise. Yeah,
that,
it's
that
a
would be, I'm
gesture.
guessing,
Yeah,
a
accepting. you.
correct. In order for me, we got naked together at the onsen, and that
Mhm.
was like a big deal
Yeah.
for him and a bigger deal in my head.
Yeah.
But we did it, and I can't, now that you say that, I was like, that really is a big gesture. He would not have wanted to go
Right.
with us in the first place
Yeah.
if he was not loving and accepting.
Right.
Yeah, that's big. I didn't even think of that, Mamo. That's a good one.
All right. So we talked about the best 3.
Okay.
What about the worst 3 experience you had during this trip?
Okay, 2 are food related.
I know.
Number 3 at the bottom, we're going to work our way up to number 1.
Yeah.
Worst thing.
Yeah.
Beef I'd ever had on a skewer turned out to not be beef. And Mama didn't tell me till I ate them, and I was like, this is the worst tasting. This beef doesn't taste good. It's kind of chewy. And he was like, well, because it wasn't beef. And I was like, don't tell me, I want to know. And it was chicken hearts.
Yeah.
I know that's not a big deal to some people, but I don't do organ meat. And now that I think back, I could feel the ventricles, pumping as I'm chewing on it. It was chewy and had little open spaces within it. Number 2
Uh-huh.
was eating what I thought was going to be a regular piece of sushi. This is in front of his parents. His family had made this is the opening. We get there, it's an opening dinner that they put a meal for us, and the table's full, and they're sitting on the sidelines watching as Mabo and I are going to eat. We're eating by ourselves. And I'm thinking, there's no way I can't not eat everything. I have to, that would be the rudest thing. I have to show them that I am gracious and
Capable.
capable. And so I ate everything, and I was eating, and then there was this little sushi, so I reached over. Mabo's actually got it on film, and I should win an award, because I know what was going on in my head, and I know what I was not showing on my face. And I took it, I put it in my mouth, I bit down on it, and apparently it was a sack of pollock eggs, which splashed about 1 billion eggs that just filled every crevice within my mouth, between my teeth, under my tongue, up in my gums. It was just like an instantaneous
Burst.
and
Yeah, watch the part 1 of our vlog.
you can't see my face because I didn't react. And that again, I win an award for this, but it was horrifying. In my head, I was like looking for what can I chase this with, and she had a rice ball there, and I was just trying to get all the rice in all the nooks and crannies and get
Scrape off.
just get it down as fast as I could, so I didn't have to think
chase
about
it.
it. You know, I would throw up. The last thing I want to do is throw up on his mother's eating table. The worst thing was having to say goodbye to his mom.
Oh, sweet.
I mean, you know, you never know when,
Yeah,
you know, that might be the last time I ever get to see her, and I hope it's not. And,
yeah, we get
you know,
to go there
I fell in love with your family.
sooner than 15 years.
Yeah, their family accepted me fully,
Yeah.
and I love them.
Yeah.
It was like I've known them, but I didn't get to know them for like 12 years. So that's the worst thing, was leaving.
Okay. And my part, it was public transportation had a time limit. So we had a great time. Let's say at the gay bar, we had to go home
At midnight.
at midnight. Like,
Last train was 11:55.
right. So
Going from Shimona
we
City.
couldn't go farther, even though we were starting having fun. Then we started getting to know other customers and master, and
Had to get
then
going.
we had to go home.
See, I bet you it wouldn't be that in Hiroshima or any bigger city.
Could
Like,
be.
Tokyo would be open all night,
Could
kind
be.
of things. Do you remember the city that we were at just before we left? They had all those places open 24 hours. The karaoke. I'm sure they had
Yeah.
later public transportation.
I've never seen with my adult eyes,
Yeah,
so
well,
I've never known. But
I get that. It did
Yeah.
limit.
if we have more time, we could get to know them more and have more
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah, and I know a lot of Japanese business people go out and party, and then some of them have to sleep on park benches,
Yeah.
which we saw one.
Yeah, because they
Because
missed the
They
train.
missed their train and they got to go back to work the next day, so they just
Yeah.
sleep somewhere. And
Yeah.
one guy was in a suit and tie. He was not being hurt, or no one was messing with him. His bicycle was still there, sleeping in the park. You know,
Yeah,
um,
yeah, that was funny.
that was crazy.
Yeah. The second worst was one of the sushi restaurant. It was a chain restaurant, and it was not that good.
Oh, that one.
And then we
What
went
was
to
that? A rotating.
rotating sushi, revolving sushi. After that, we went to supermarket, and it was after hours, and we had a very, very cheap sushi. You know, maybe a third of the price.
That
And
was better.
yeah, that was better
than
quality.
this. Yeah, so yeah, we just picked the wrong place because
Yeah.
it was convenient,
Yeah,
and we were hungry.
yeah,
And I thought, we're in Japan. How can
Yeah.
you get bad sushi? Apparently, you can.
yeah. It was.
So
And now we knew that go to grocery stores after 5 p.m.
is it after 5?
Yeah,
You get the cheap sushi.
yeah.
Okay,
To
and
get
it's
to get
all
rid of them. you
it's
know.
all easy. I mean, less expensive anyway. Like way less than U.S. You get a whole bunch
Yeah,
for like you
probably
can
like
get for under $5.
$2 to $3, $4.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
With the 8 sushi. So
Yeah,
yeah, that was a bummer.
and their grocery store sushi, at least the one that we went to,
Yeah.
was really
Yeah.
good.
But
Like,
typically they do like to get rid of those raw items. They're gonna
Put 'em on sale.
Put 'em on sale.
early enough to get rid of them.
Right.
Okay.
And the worst event was money. So I didn't bring enough cash.
Yen.
Yeah, it was kind of tough because there's not many places accept the credit card. So
Yeah, there was a lot of small family-owned restaurants and places.
Yeah.
And so he had to keep going to the bank
Mm-hmm.
and that would cost maybe a little more than if we would have done it ahead of time.
Yeah.
So had we known, we would have exchanged more money
Right.
here in the U.S. in
Yeah.
the U.S. bank and tripled how much yen we brought.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
At least tripled because
Yeah.
we got money 2 different times there.
Yeah, and another thing about money was you never noticed because I was dealing with money, and you have to use the coins wisely because if you are just paying by paper money, you're gonna get so many coins. So you have to be able to calculate, and also you got to know what kind of coins you have inside your wallet so that you can use that every single time.
You want to use up your coins.
Yeah,
but
otherwise
keep some coins, right?
you can keep the coin, but your wallet is gonna be heavier and heavier.
Oh, gotcha. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, so you have to.
Pay with coins as much as you can, and
Correct.
then go to your paper.
Yeah, so you have to know what kind of coins you have in your wallet so that you can use up every single time you pay.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was the tough part because in US just pay with credit card and it's easy.
I didn't know you were going through this. And being sick. For me, we were both
Oh yeah.
fighting sinus infections while we were there, and that was not fun.
So now you're done the trip, right?
Mhm.
Was there any difference from your expectation to what you experienced?
I wanted to see the countryside. I'd heard how beautiful it was, and I was hoping we weren't going to get just stuck in cities the whole time. One thing about Japan is the whole interior of the islands seem to be mountains and trees and forests, and everybody lives near the coast. And I was hoping we'd get to see some of that. One thing I did get to see and notice that every building, every shot of every city, there's mountains in the picture somewhere, unless you're facing out towards the ocean. And I expected to see and hoped I would the countryside and going in through the mountains. And we did get to do that on our way to the first onsen that Mabo and I went to. And we stopped at that restaurant. And tiny little roads that have probably not been fixed since 1940. I actually wanted that to be the reality, and it was. So that was a thing I wanted to see. That's probably in my top 10 list, was going up that mountain to the onsen and stopping at that famous restaurant that's out in the middle of nowhere by itself, the only place building for miles and miles, and driving on those tiny little roads and those teeny tiny little box cars. And I loved that, and that exceeded my expectations. All of that, seeing the houses and the architecture, it's what I expected and more. I didn't think I'd see as much of it. Even the modern architecture, the houses have that same kind of roof, with the dragon on the top, and it's cool. The architecture was great. That was my expectation, and it exceeded it. Of course, the sushi exceeded my expectations because I'd never had that fresh of sushi. Literally brought in that morning, probably right and sliced up just prior to eating it. When we went to Shimonoseki, the fish market. Fish market was cool. I know I've gotten off subject. What was the question? Expectations.
Exceeded
All of it. Every bit of this trip exceeded my expectations. Every moment. It was the trip of my lifetime. And I've been to a few other places, but absolutely, I'd been wanting to go for decades. I'd had a fascination with Japan since I was in my 20s, and I got to do it, and I got to do it with like a tour guide that could take me into the inner parts of the country and go to restaurants that he had been going to since he was a kid. So they've been around for 40 years, and that his family's been going to, and that was some of the best food I'd ever had. That was at the Oden place. That your family, that bar place. All of it exceeded my expectations. I love the country. I never expected to feel so safe, ever. I've never felt so safe. All of that went away. Here in the United States, there's a constant background fear of potential crimes. It just is, especially if you live in a bigger city and you could get carjacked or, all sorts of little things happen. People break into houses, there's shootings, whatever it is. I work at a school, could be shootings, all that. It's just a background that's just there. While there, gone. I had none, zero. Zero.
That's good.
Zero. I didn't want to leave, partly for that reason. It wasn't that I don't like America. I love the U.S. But that one part of being able to, first time in since I've been an adult and going through life, that anxiety, even if it's subtle, living in a place where there's none of that, it was hard to leave.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yay. Yeah, to me, now I'm Americanized of the old 15 years and going back there with fresh eyes.
Right. I was about to say that. He expected it to be the way he looked at it before.
Yeah, correct.
And now that he went there and saw it through my eyes and the things that I got excited about and the things that I thought were amazing.
Yeah.
Like going to these shrines, these are the real deal. This is not the Disney-fied version of some building that they tried to make look like an ancient building. These buildings were 600 years old, 800 years old, some of them probably about 1,000 years old. And we're walking in them and they've got these stone statues and everything that had been there for hundreds and hundreds of years. Not just something that somebody made up in a little shop and made it to look like it was. This was it. I didn't know that I would feel what I felt when I walked into these shrines, knowing that this is the real deal. I'm walking on places and in buildings that people 1,000 years ago or 700 years ago walked. We don't have that kind of feeling here in the U.S. Not much is older than 200 years old. If we're lucky, they've lasted 200 years.
Yeah. So with that said, what would you suggest for those visitors to Japan?
Wear good shoes, walk. Walk as much as you can, and don't worry about walking at night. It's safe. It's safe. And even going through like these alleys where shops were, those alleys where the stores are all closed and there's just kids walking and teenagers and older people, everybody's just kind of walking. This was at midnight. That I'd say wear good shoes and don't be afraid of walking around at night. And don't try the pollock eggs unless you like an explosion in your mouth. You can't just swallow. You have to chase it down with a rice ball. So that happens. Make sure there's some rice or something.
Yeah. I already told you guys, bring the cash and know the time of
yen.
the
Bring yen.
Yeah. And know the time to leave or transportation time.
Yeah.
Your train
stuck somewhere.
time.
Yeah. You'll be sleeping on a park bench.
And that might be the experience.
You know what I would add real quick?
Right.
Fly Japanese Airlines.
Uh-huh.
Don't fly American. I mean, don't fly an American plane to go there, and there's plenty that will. But the Japanese plane experience, spectacular. The room that in the seats, and how they speak to you, the food they offer, the service, and we were in the lowest class, and it felt like being in first class here on any kind of plane that we've had. And they wear these, all of them are beautiful, the flight attendants, their hair is all combed and curled, rolled in the back the same way. the little uniforms. Nobody was anxious. Nobody was uptight. Nobody was pushing and shoving, and it was just lovely. Lovely experience. So JAL.
Awesome. All right. Thank you for listening to us, and please let us know if you have any questions about Japan, and see you next time. じゃあねー。またねー。
Bye.
Love you.